the sacred slut takes you all the way home to your heart. This woman who receives so much from the masculine is available to receive. Sexuality is actually a direct pathway into the divinity. Everything you've ever wanted is within you. She has healed these wounds of unworthiness. They haven't really connected to that natural pleasure that lives within them. Sacred Slut has this shadow side to her. In this episode, we are addressing one of the most challenging feminine archetypes, which is the sacred slut. And so even when you just hear this word, slut, you may have a reaction. Some people may have already stopped watching. Maybe even just seeing the title is incredibly triggering. But something still compels you to stay. And it may be because you have already done a lot of work on sacred sexuality. And it may be because you are simply peeking to check what is this whole thing all about. And then when you add the word sacred to the slut, the whole vibe changes, but it's still quite confronting, quite challenging. And I remember when I was writing my book and I was looking for an editor, I specifically wrote a request. I'm looking for someone who can help me proofread and edit my book, who is comfortable with having God and sex in the same sentence. So this book was born almost 10 years ago now, and I still come back to this book, by the way, and even reread it myself, because in my book I spoke about this completely natural state of orgasmicness, of openness to life, which is a state which we are all born into. And this is the state that reflects our essence of our totality, of our unity with all that is. And when we go through life, we create so many habits of tension, of tightness, of blocks. And these blocks appear on various levels. They appear at the level of the body, and then it appears as disease. It appears on the level of energy, on the level of emotions, on the level of the mind. And that's where you hear the word slut, and immediately you're like, oh my gosh, it has to do with sex. It's likely manipulative. It's something that has to do with exchange, which is usually not fair. It's something that maybe I have a personal bad experience with, or I was cheated on, and then I would consider that woman to be a slut. You know, there may be all sorts of stories, something that has to do with your own life, with lives of your parents, with lives of people that you've seen around you, that creates those tensions. Somewhere in your system there is a tension around sexuality, because the word slut specifically indicates something around sexuality. So let's dive into it, let's look into it, and I'll explain to you precisely why do I choose to use the word slut and not some other softer word like seductress or enchantress, or there are so many other words we could be using. For me, the word slut is so important to use here specifically because it's so charged. Specifically because it's so activating. And whenever there is an activation, whenever something happens in your life, or you hear something, you see something, something occurs, and it creates a reaction inside of you, that means that this is the place that has gold for you. And so when the word slut is collectively so triggering, it means there is gold for us right in it. So relaxing into the place that used to stir you up, and then being so fine with it, and even being playful with it, and even allowing yourself to identify as a sacred slut, whether you're man or woman, sacred slut lives within you. So when you start to reclaim that part, and that not necessarily even mean that you have to be promiscuous, quite on the contrary, you can be very monogamous and very much a slut, and in fact it's highly recommended. In fact, what I find is that a lot of people, once they get into relationships, then they enter into this very focused vibe towards the partner, and then possibly towards the family, towards the child, and completely disconnect from this flirtatious, playful, open, orgasmic, alive, vibrant, juicy part of you. So for some people, sexuality is simply repressed. It maybe was there once, you were curious once, you had your sexy times once, but now with the busyness of life, with all the responsibilities, it's just like it's not there. And then that's why you're here, and that's why you feel like, oh my gosh, I have enough of being without pleasure, of living without radiant orgasmic life. I see those women who are shining, and wherever they walk in, everyone just has to look at them. I want to be one of those women secretly, but I don't have time. Maybe you are in that stage. Or if you grew up with a very strong influence of church, that also is quite a particular category, because in church there is a lot of obsession actually with sexuality, I have to say, because whenever something is repressed, it means there is an obsession. Because when you have a healthy relationship towards something, you don't need to demonize it, you don't need to pedestalize it either, but it just simply is a natural expression of you, natural expression of life. And again, that's what I'm writing about in my book. That's where I personally had such a tremendous breakthrough in my own life, in my own spirituality, where I saw that that particular energy that I was always drawn to, and you may be also like me, that you were always very curious about sexuality. When I was 13, I was interrogating all my girlfriends to tell me what's happening there in the bedroom, because many of them were already having partners and already making love. And I was so curious. I really wanted them to tell me everything. What's happening? What's happening when he goes down on you? What's happening when you're making love? And what do you feel? And how does it go? And what is an orgasm? And how do you experience that? And what happens then? And how does your relationship change? So all of that was a part of my grandiose fascination ever since I was young. And then I waited a very long time until I was 19 to have my first sexual intercourse, because I was waiting for the one. And I was really hoping that I would have just one partner for the rest of my life, because I really didn't want to repeat the destiny of my parents. So that was not meant to be, but I learned a lot about sexuality, about relationships, and now it's such a key part of my work. A lot of people come to me because they feel like they want to live more fully, because they want to have more pleasure, because they want to have more ease, because they want to feel more nourished from inside out, because they want to be orgasmic. What is this orgasmic life? Because they don't want to just experience connection with the spirit when they meditate, when they are somewhere removed, when they are on their own, but they want to experience divinity when they are in the thick of life. A lot of people come to me because they want to experience this way of living life in orgasmic freedom every moment of life. Not only when you are masturbating, or not only when you are in the bedroom, but really living like that. Yes, connection with a partner is a huge thing why people come to work with me. We are diving deep and seeing how when you change things inside of you, when you activate your pleasure, your depth, then your partner just changes automatically. This is quite magical how it happens, and I see it over and over and over again. I had so many clients who came and they were in those long-term relationships of 20 years, 30 years, and the relationship was dying off, and they were questioning, am I repressing myself by being with this person? But then I start to work with this woman particularly. And I say we're not blaming the man. We're not looking for any flaws in him, but we are fully taking responsibility for your part. And when we're going into that, in this full responsibility, in the full discovery of what she is capable of, what her body is made for, then, as if by magic, the man changes and the man becomes much more attentive, much more caring. He starts to bring flowers, he starts to bring gifts, he starts to naturally open the door for her, he starts to provide and support her in all the ways that she wanted. And what happened? Why couldn't it happen earlier? Because she was repressing her feminine radiance. And this is a big, big epidemic that we see on this planet, that women have women's bodies, but they don't behave and don't feel like women. They feel like men, they feel like something neutral even. They feel like mothers often, and that's their job description, a mother, and life description, a mother. Everything is about being a mother. Or you may be this kind of woman who always was interested in being radiant, being sexual, being open, being alive. But then you got to your ceiling and you feel like, okay, there must be more. And if you feel like there must be more, I congratulate you, because there's always more. After all this work, I have discovered, and I continue discovering in my own life and my own experience as a woman, that there's always more to this erotic opening, because there's always more to the goddess. There's always more to our divine experience. And sexuality is actually a direct pathway into the divinity. Traditionally, sexuality is seen to be something very earthly, something very removed from the divinity, but that's the beauty of Tantra, such an ancient path of remembering the divinity within, that it actually finds this unification of the mundane and the sacred, and it's seen as one and the same. And sexuality is that energy that we are all fascinated by. We are all interested in relationships. We all are somewhat connected to procreation, to this life, to the creation of this life. We are all interested in pleasure, in feeling pleasure in the body. And so something so tangible, something so real is actually a direct pathway into totality. And when you relax into your sexuality, you realize that yes, it's endless, because the goddess is endless, because life itself is endless. And also you just see that you make so much peace with so many aspects of your humanity. So I want to read to you a poem about Sacred Slut that I wrote a long time ago, but it's just so to the point that I really want to make it a part of this podcast episode. So relax, take a deep breath, and let these words really touch you. You can be totally monogamous and totally a slut. In fact, it's highly recommended. Ready to meet her? She resides within all of us, women and men. She is not ashamed of her pleasure, of her sexual power and her desire. She is not ashamed to have her neighbors hear her moan. She has come to know through her ecstatic experience that sexuality is a manifestation of divine consciousness. She knows her body is a temple. When she opens her legs, she shares herself in her entirety, and this is saved only for a lover who adores and worships all of her. She knows that her sexual energy is and has always been and will always be the purest of the pure. She never feels guilty for her desire because she has explored it to its very core. Because at the core of all desires, there is only one desire that all human beings share: the desire to be one with the divine. The act of sex to her is prayer. Each moan is expression of her longing. The slut also has a shadow side. It shows up when she uses her seductive power to fulfill her egoic need for attention and validation. But this is only a product of forgetting who she is and what is her true worth. When her worth is reclaimed, the slut is showing up in her most glorious light, and not only for the joy of her beloved, but for the highest good of all. Because the world desperately needs women who've awakened to the true power of their sexuality, who don't use their sexuality to manipulate, but rest in their power with the glory of a queen. This queen is so full from within, so radiant and blissful. Her giving is effortless, and the nectar of her love touches everyone she meets. So take a breath and really notice what these words stir up inside of you. Is this something familiar? Is this something forgotten? Is this something you aspire to? Is it something that scares you? Are you still in question, how can this be sacred? Is there a remembrance? So now inside of my membership sanctuary, we are in this powerful phase where we are dedicating 2 months, which is a cycle, to exploration of various feminine archetypes. And we are about to enter the Sacred Slut cycle, which means that for 2 months, you will be living this archetype. You'll be noticing all those places where you are ashamed of your desire, where you don't give yourself the space to really occupy who you are, who you came here to be, when you're not fully nourished. Because so many women can speak about beauty and attractiveness and manifestation, but you see that they are not shining from inside. You see that their eyes are empty. Why? Because they haven't reclaimed the power of their erotic. They haven't really connected to that natural pleasure that lives within them. And women who have, on the contrary, you recognize them kilometers away. You feel an energy of a woman who rests in her erotic power. When she walks into the space, you cannot help but look at her. You see that she's always surrounded by men, that men are always there to support her, to provide for her, to open doors for her, to offer opportunities to her. Why? Why some women have it so naturally and so effortlessly and always? And not because they feel amazing this one particular day, but just this is a natural expression of their life. And other women keep saying that there are no good men, there are no right men, no one wants to help me, I feel invisible to the masculine. I don't feel supported, I feel let down, I feel there are only feminine men around me. Why? And I see that there are many aspects to that, but one of the most important ones is that this woman who receives so much from the masculine is available to receive. She found the place of her well of nourishment. And only when you are nourished from inside, you've given to yourself. And this is the most powerful way to give to yourself, to activate your erotic life force, to activate your energy, to activate your sexuality. Then you are naturally glowing, and naturally your energy is available and welcoming to the masculine. Of course, sacred slut can be misused, and a lot of people misuse it because we say sex sells. So then you can see half-naked women in some seductive outfits selling cars, yeah, on the ads, for example, or something that's completely not related to that. And this is then manipulative. Yeah, it's like you get someone's attention and then you play with their desire and then you sell them something that they may not need. Or you activate this kind of consumeristic mentality, that sense of that I need something external, I need, so that I feel good enough until the next thing. And so the sacred slut has this shadow side to her. Unless you have really learned to love yourself, you may find yourself playing with that energy. You may find yourself leaking sexual energy. Even when you're in a relationship, you may find yourself offering mixed signals to other people, or not being able to hold your integrity when you are attracted to someone, when you feel like you have to act on desire, or when you use your looks, your outfits in a way to really get validation, to feed your sense of worth. And why this is done? It's because there's no real sense of self-worth that is rooted within. I had this phase in my life. I had to explore this dark side of the sacred slut when I really opened up and blossomed in my sexuality, and I really felt like, wow, it's actually an energy that I have so much in abundance, and I can play with it, and I can delight in it. But there was a missing link. And I was trying to fill that link by becoming very provocative and really playing with that energy. So, for example, I could show up at a party in a red see-through, completely see-through dress with a flogger, and just have this kind of attitude that, you know, I can have any man I want, and I'm here, and this is me, and I'm in my glory, and a sense of seeking for attention in that. And that energy was completely repelling for women. So I had I really struggled to have female friends in that energy, because women were either really intimidated. Some of them wanted to be that way, but they were really not comfortable to be anywhere close to me. And what was happening with men was very interesting, because they were kind of intrigued, but at the same time, they immediately felt overpowered. And they would make comments, and even later I found out that they would discuss me between each other, and with kind of like a diminishing attitude. That happens because that was a direct reflection of that energy that I was emanating. So I was like, I am here to take up that space. I can take up that space. I can be that powerful, and I don't care how people perceive me, and I can just take up that space and be in my sexual power here, and I can get any man I want and stuff like that. So that was certainly seeking for attention, seeking for validation, and I was getting the attention, but perhaps not actually the type of attention my heart truly desired. And then I had to do a lot of purification, a lot of cleansing, a lot of deepening in my practice, and finding deeper self-love. Because, of course, when a person is seeking for something from outside, it means they are lacking the self-love, they are lacking the self-worth, and they want to fill up those empty spaces with attention, validation, approval from outside. And so that's the very strong shadow side of the sacred slut that we see a lot in the world, and it goes completely unconscious. And the interesting thing about that is that actually now I also could wear a red see-through dress and have that attitude of taking up my space, and even show up with a flogger. Why not? You know, if I'm feeling playful. But it would emit entirely different vibe. Because it's not about what you do or what you wear or what you say, but it's about the energy that's behind it. And when there is an energy of seeking attention, if there is an energy of constantly scanning every room you enter and checking if there is a man you're attracted to, there is an energy of neediness. There is an energy of seeking, and it's a small energy. What we came here to experience is this energy of fullness, this big energy, where you come from such a place of love, such a place of freedom, that you know that everything you've ever wanted is within you. It's already given. It's being given to you every single second, in fact. So what is there to seek for? Yeah. And then when you do that, it's like, yeah, my sacred slut wanted to come out to play today. But she's already playing. It's already happening on the inside. So I don't need to seduce someone or intimidate someone or show off in my sexual power in order to activate my sacred slut. No, she's already here. She's always here. Just like all feminine archetypes. By the way, you can take my quiz, Feminine Archetypes quiz. I'll drop the link in the show notes. where you can fill in the questionnaire, and then you will receive an email with information about your predominant feminine archetype right now. Because we have all of them within us. I work with 5 dominant ones: the princess, the wild woman, the sacred slut, the priestess, and the queen. And they all live within us. They all live within every single woman. And it's so important to activate that range and to be free within each one of them. And to me, it's a work of a lifetime, because it's really about continually leaning into more of the love that we are. And this love, she has so many faces. Just like the goddess has so many faces. So each archetype is like a sub-personality that lives within you. It's like a face of a goddess that you have direct access to. And the Sacred Slut, as I said, we are entering into exploration of her inside of Sanctuary just very, very soon. And this phase is so necessary, because we can so easily get into the frozen feminine energy. This shell, this masculinized shell of the ice queen that can come forward when you've been hurt, when you've been abandoned, when you've been betrayed, where you've seen the dark side of sexuality and you don't want to go there and you're scared to express it. Maybe you did misuse this energy in the past and acted out of the shadows. But then the journey is to come back to love, to forgive, to heal. And we'll be focusing on that for 2 months. Every week you'll be receiving lessons, activations, practices from me to come into that place of juicy, radiant aliveness, to come out of the freeze, to become radiant and magnetic, but at the same time be nurtured from inside, be complete on the inside, and be open to people and shine as that love for the highest good of all, because that's the gift of the Sacred Slut. She has healed these wounds of unworthiness, and she rests in her pleasure with the glory of the Queen, not only for the joy of her beloved, but for the highest good of all. Because yes, a woman who has an amazing sex life, who has an amazing connection to her own sexuality, she shines. And the more she shines, the more goodness she attracts to her. The more she is visible, the more she is radiant, the more people soften around her. There is a regulation of the nervous system to her. That's how she can truly experience deep pleasure. Orgasms and pleasure is also something that is so misconceptualized. So many people associate with orgasm just that you rub your clitoris and then you explode in those fireworks for a second, or 5 seconds, or 10 seconds. This is like a sneeze. It has nothing to do with the true pleasure that is available to a woman. Not only in the bedroom, but yes, in the bedroom, that you can experience orgasms directly from the walls of your vagina, from penetration, not from stimulation, from connection, from the union, from the openness, from the connection of the cervix with the tip of the penis of your partner. Or if you're single, you absolutely get to be very sexual by using the tools, by using the techniques that also help you open up in that way. And when you open your cervix, which is the deepest part of your vagina, which is connected to your uterus, to your womb, when you connect to that place, it then expands to your heart and nurtures your heart. And the heart is the place of the feminine. The heart is that place that knows how to love truly, how to love herself, first of all, how to love every aspect of her, and therefore how to love the world and how to lead with the feminine heart on this planet. And the planet needs this so much right now, because everyone is preoccupied with their little agenda. But when we expand with our awareness of what is actually necessary for us as humanity, for our family, for our human family, what is necessary for us? It's necessary that people come home to their hearts, that people evolve in their consciousness, that people truly shine as love and welcome everyone in their lives into that place of love. And so Sacred Slut is a direct invitation into that. Even though being that challenging archetype was so multifaceted, and I named just a few aspects of her today, but at the same time, the depth of this archetype is that it takes you home to your heart. This is what all the feminine archetypes are all about. Yes, you will learn different tools and different skills and on ways of opening up and just having more fun in your life. So many people, so many women are so serious these days. They don't prioritize their nourishment, they don't prioritize being in the shower and actually feeling how the water is running down your shoulders, how when you're touching yourself, you're really bringing this presence, this love to this touch. Yeah, through Sacred Slut, through connection with her, you reclaim all of that. This may sound like small things, but when you practice them continually and you go deeper and deeper into her and you confront those places of shame, you confront those places where you're lacking creativity, lacking inspiration, you confront it, you lean into it, and you let her bring this life back, to bring this vital life force back. Yes, you become radiant. Yes, your eyes start to shine differently. Yes, you communicate a different version of femininity, which sometimes the world forgets. But the most important thing is that the Sacred Slut takes you all the way home to your heart, to this radiant, juicy, alive, beating, throbbing, orgasmic feminine heart. So I'd love to go on this journey with you. You can go ahead and take the quiz and check which feminine archetype is yours right now. There are some women who will experience that Sacred Slut is your main archetype, and I celebrate you if this is so, because it means that there is already a certain opening to her, but at the same time, again, there is no end to this opening. In my 15 years on the path, I keep being mesmerized. Every time I make love, I go deeper. Every time, every single time, I experience more depth, more power, more pleasure, more connection with the divine. And it keeps on expanding and expanding and expanding. So much joy, much opening, much blessings ahead for us. And then you're so welcome to join us into this cycle inside of Sanctuary. You can step in for the whole year, and when you do so, you get access to some additional programs of mine that are also related to sexuality. There is an Activated Woman online course that thousands of women have taken all over the world, where you learn inner techniques, inner technologies that can activate your sexual energy, that will activate your sexual energy. The techniques I'm teaching there are the things that helped me heal my polycystic ovarian syndrome, that help women become pregnant and open up to men in sexuality in a completely different way, in a completely new way. And then there's also the Limitless Love online course, one of my oldest online courses that actually are designed to support your sexual connection with a partner. So you can join for the whole year, or you can join just for a cycle. And this cycle is juicy and magnificent, and you will have the time of your life on the inside, and you will also be confronted. You will also find those places where you've been frozen, and you will defreeze those places, and you will see how your masculine shell just drops off you, and you will have very easy and short and to the point practices that will help you activate your juicy flow and your radiance in a matter of minutes, wherever you are, however you feel. Every week you will be receiving guidance from me on how to go deeper, how to open more, how to soften more, how to access more pleasure, more orgasmicness, more power inside of you. So I'll drop all the links below. And with that, blessings on your journey of reclaiming this powerful feminine archetype. Blessings to releasing guilt of desire, releasing shame from any way of being a woman. Blessings on really resting in this body and being at ease in this body, however much you weigh, however old you are. Blessings to the feminine radiance, the blessing of the goddess that really makes goddess available, accessible to us. Through a woman's pores, through a woman's eyes, through a woman's body, we can directly connect with the goddess. You get to be her conduit. And the Sacred Slut is such an anchor and such a potent place where you get to open. So blessings to this path, and I cannot wait to journey together.